morning, kids. What time is it?
Hey, it's Edson with GeekTime TV here with episode 4 of Dune Prophecy. We see the full spectrum of Bene Gesserit manipulation here right off the bat. Which I'm guessing it looks like that's what this, not just this episode, but this whole show is basically about, how the Bene Gesserit just manipulate everything and try to get their hands on everything so that they can influence things for themselves. I think it's for a greater good, but it's basically for themselves because they think they know what's best for everybody. So you see, at the end of the last episode, Valia, the leader of the Bene Gesserit, shows up at the Harkonnen home world. And it's not that she's, homesick. It's not that she wants to patch things up with her family. She hasn't seen them for decades. It's not that she wants to apologize for, their break, being away from them or anything like that. She is actually there because she wants something. And the way she goes about doing it is pretty masterful with this entire manipulation. So I got to try to keep this as clear as I can, but because it gets a little convoluted. So her uncle, who's still pretty old but still alive and very frail, is there. But the person who represents now House Harkonnen is actually her nephew, Harrow. So she deals with him. She can manipulate him much easier. So he's very envious of all the great houses, and he wants the Harkonnens to be one of the great houses, which they are not. There's in the Dune political scheme, there's the major houses, and then there's the minor houses. The Harkonnens are minor and not well looked upon. So she offers him a chance to make the Harkonnens a major house. She also offers, after denying House Harkonnen truthsayers for many years, she offers herself, her mother superior. She's like the highest of the Bene Gesserit. She offers herself as a truthsayer for House Harkonnen, which he obviously is overwhelmed by that. So he automatically thinks that things are just much better now for their stature. But then she also says, well, I'm going to get you on to be a major house. So the major houses form this council called the Landstrad, and they're part of how political power is conducted in this empire. Obviously, the emperor is the highest power, but he can't rule the empire without the support of the Landstrad, which is the major houses. So she offers Hera a way to get House Harkonnen to be a major house. And there's a reason why. She's not doing this out of the goodness of her heart or to help them. There's a reason why she wants this. So obviously he's all for it. So how does she accomplish this? So she goes to ask all the other truthsayers of, not all of them, but a bunch of truthsayers of the other houses, major houses, who are obviously all Bene Gesserit sisters. So she tells them to convince the leaders of those houses, some of them, to come and offer House Harkonnen a place in the Landstrad. The way they're going to do that is by saying, look, we heard there's rumor, we know there's all these rumors out there that the son of Duke Richese from the House Richese was killed, and the rumors are that it came from the Emperor. The order came from the Emperor. We don't know exactly how it happened, but it came from the Emperor, and we want to confront the Emperor about this. But there's a risk when someone brings that up. If it could backfire on them if they don't have any proof. Then the Emperor could come down upon them, take away their status, take away much more than that. Just get rid of them altogether if they start accusing him of all this. So the way they're going to do is like they're going to offer House Harkonnen a place in the Landstrad, major house, but on the condition that Harrow goes there in the council and brings up this inquiry before the Emperor. They're using him to bring up this inquiry about this rumor about the Emperor ordering the death of the Richese boy. Okay, so he's very obviously Harrow Harkonnen is like very like timid, but he's very envious as well, and he definitely wants to be there. This is like this is his dream, making House Harkonnen a major house. But he's also a little bit reluctant, but he's like, okay, I get it. It's important that we find out about this, about how the Richese boy got killed. Now, those major houses are very concerned about these rumors because, if this can happen to one of the other major houses, then who's to stop the emperor from killing one of them or killing one of their families as well? So this is why they want to bring this up at this. It's called there's a council. Once in a while, the Landstred gather together to in front of the emperor, and they kind of like discuss all the important matters of the empire and things like that. So they want Harrow to go there, representing House Harkonnen, now a major house, and bring this up. The reason why Valia wants all this done is because she wants to be there. Remember, in episode 2, she lost all influence with the emperor. She has no access to the palace, but she will if she's going to be the Harkonnen truthsayer. So that's her way in. And what she plans on doing, there's another manipulation. So there's a Bene Gesserit sister that's working with these rebels that want to overthrow the emperor and the major houses. And they're going to go ahead and with an attack during this council when they all meet together. They're going to go just try to kill the emperor and all the major house leaders there as a way to overthrow the empire. And Valia wants to get all the information from I believe it's Sister Raquella, who's working with the rebels, secretly working with the rebels. She's going to get all the details from her about the attack, and she's going to be there to stop the attack. And by stopping the attack, she becomes now she now gets back her influence with the emperor, and she's back with the palace and able to manipulate him all. This is all she wants. That's her end game. She wants to make sure she's influential with the emperor. So she goes through all this just for that. And everything is like there's a lot of moving parts go in play. And away we go. So we get to this Landstred Council. And so Harrow Harkonnen, everybody's like, all the other house leaders are like, okay, go ahead, do your thing. We got to bring this up to the emperor. So he's very reluctant. He's very, he's afraid of what might happen to him if he accuses the emperor of this, of ordering the death of the Richese boy, and he's like stumbling over his words. He's trying to get to it, and before he finishes it, he gets help from Princess Yanez, who also is very concerned about the emperor using Desmond Hart here as someone who kills other people. Like she doesn't want him anywhere near the palace or anything like that, because she doesn't like the fact that what he did to the kid. And so as Harrow Harkonnen is trying to get to the bottom of get to the point of all this, she comes walks right into the council, and she reiterates what he's trying to say is that she basically accuses her father of having ordered the Richese boy killed. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like now it's out in the open. But before there's any kind of outrage or anything like that, Desmond Hart comes into the middle of all this, and he basically says, yep, that's right, I did. I killed the kid, and guess what? The emperor was fine with it, and there's a reason why I did it. You all saw it at the engagement party. He was guilty of having a thinking machine, an artificial intelligence device, which is the highest law you can break in this empire. So why wouldn't we want that? That's the punishment for that. The punishment for having a thinking machine should be the person gets executed, and that's why I did it. So it's like he kind of takes all the thunder away from the accusation. It's like, yeah, that's what I did it. And by the way, while we're at it, there's a conspiracy now to attack us, and I have uncovered other conspirators to using another thinking machine to attack us. And he basically reveals, there is a scene earlier in the episode where we see Carrion Atreides, who's actually under the employ of the emperor, but secretly working for the rebels. He meets up with this Ixian. This is the first time we hear about someone from an Ixian, and they're really good with technology. He sells the rebels this looks like a drone, but someone doesn't need to control the drone. It just kind of like does its own thing by itself, and it carries a huge bomb with it. So what they're planning on that carrying will allow a way into the palace, and the drone will make its way into this big auditorium type room, explode, and then kill the emperor and all the major house leaders. So he sent out a lot of before this meeting. He sent out a bunch of people, a bunch of imperial agents, to seek out this rebellion and put a stop to this before. So he takes everything away from Valia's plan or anybody else accusing the emperor of anything, because he has figured out who the rebels are, or at least a bunch of them. He has them brought in as prisoners. He also accuses certain leaders of the houses to be in on it. And right there in the middle of everybody, he uses his power. I can only assume it's psychic power. He uses his psychic power to just kill them all. It's like, I don't know, it's like maybe 10, maybe a dozen people all at once. He burns them. He burns them from, just like he did before with the kid. The Bene Gesserit's sister there, who Kasha, who was working for the emperor back in episode 2. So he kills a bunch of people all at once. They die in agony. They're burning up. And the interesting part of this is that you do see a toll being taken on it. It's not like this power is just like without any kind of consequences to him. You see him staggering. You see him like obviously in certain pain himself for having killed that many people using his power like this. He kind of staggers to his knees. You see him bleeding as well. So there is some damage to him when he does this power at this scale. So you do see that. But anyways, the whole rebel thing gets kind of cut off at the pass, so to speak. Valia's plan is now down the drain because she doesn't get a chance to save the emperor or anybody else from the attack or anything like that. So she still doesn't get any kind of influence. And Desmond Hart's standing is just as high with the emperor as anything, because he has just stopped a plot by the rebels to overthrow him. On his way out, there's this thing, like he kind of staggers his way out, and he kind of goes near where Valia is, and he puts like his hand on something where like it leaves like a handprint with his blood. And I wasn't sure why he did that on purpose, because he must know that she's immediately going to take that blood sample and send it back to Wallach 9, where the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood have this incredible, all-encompassing genetic records, and figure out who he was. So hopefully, sometime soon we'll finally figure out who he really is, because he's still a very mysterious character in this whole show. We're now episode 4. We only have 2 more episodes to go, so hopefully we'll find out soon. Okay, so that the whole thing the whole meeting just ends there. The plot gets stopped, gets foiled. Valia gets foiled, and away we go. And while this is going on, speaking of the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood back on Wallach 9, where Tula, Valia's sister, is in charge, there's something happened with one of the students, one of the acolytes. She had like this really horrible nightmare where she sees like some unseen force coming at the Bene Gesserit, attacking the Bene Gesserit. And what she does is she has a bunch of them kind of go into this hypnotic trance, where they try to go into have visions, and they kind of draw what they're having visions of, and they all kind of seem to wind up with the same thing at the end of this whole thing, which is 2 glowing blue eyes coming at them, like almost like this force coming out of the shadows and attacking the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood. But all they see is the glowing blue eyes coming at them. It seems like they assume that's Desmond Hart, who's going to be their enemy. I'm not so sure about that. This might represent someone way far into the future. I do remember this scene with Paul Atreides in the original story of Dune, which takes place, 10,000 years forward of these events, where he turns to Reverend Mother Mahayim and says, when you look into that place that you dare not look and you see me looking back at you, you know who's going to be your downfall, which he is. He wound up being the Kwisatz Haderach, which they thought they could control, but then he winds up being their downfall. It could be either him, I think, maybe, or maybe even his son Leto, who's even more powerful than him. So, but obviously they think that whatever force is coming at them is imminent, and they're obviously in a panic. Also, later on after this scene, Tula goes down underground into that room, which is being controlled by the advanced computer, AI computer, and where her student Lila is being kept alive in a coma, and that kind of like that glass canister or whatever, and she's being kept there, and so Tula goes down there to check on her, and guess what? There's no body. It's empty. So she's like, she looks around, and out of the shadows, Lila walks out, and it's like, great, she's back. She's been revived. She's back. She's not going to die, and she's back to normal. But then you get the sense of, is she really back to normal? Because there's a chance that it's not really Lila. It's Lila's body for sure. But when a person who's not quite ready yet to go through this, the Bene Gesserit call the agony, where they take the poison and they somehow are able to survive by changing the poison and making it harmless, but then they get access to their female ancestors. When they're not quite ready for that, like Lila wasn't, there's a chance that one of those personalities that she does see from her ancestors becomes dominant and overtakes her. It's like Dune's version of possession. And if Lila is really being possessed by Dorothea, her mother, that she could actually be the enemy that tries to take down the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood, because remember, Dorothea was killed by Valia, way back when, like 20 or 30 years ago. She was killed by her using the voice on her, and she may be trying to be vengeful against Valia and Tula now. So now they got to watch out for that. And then the very final part is a big reveal, and it's so Valia, goes back, tail between her legs, back to the Harkonnen planet, because all her manipulations failed. All the stuff she had put into place failed because Desmond Hart just stopped everything. She wasn't able to get her influence back with the Emperor, so she's back with the House Harkonnen. And there's two things that she does. First of all, she shows just again what a I guess the best way to say evil person she is. So she's her uncle is having a hard time. He's very frail, very old, and he needs to have like a medication from the spice to keep going. And she sees him struggling, and she purposely keeps the medication away from him, and he winds up dying. So that's horrible. The other part that you see is here. She sees her brother Griffin, who had been killed way back in last episode in flashbacks. So he was killed many years ago, and he shows up all of a sudden. Well, no, I mean she's kind of getting something out of it emotionally. She pretends that it's him, and she wishes he was back, but it's not really him. So we finally find out that when there's a reason. So when she went back to the palace. Back in episode 2, she took one of the acolytes with her, one of the students, Sister Theodosia. There's a reason why she picked her to go with her, and that is we find out that Sister Theodosia is actually a face dancer, which is basically another name for a chameleon. She's able to change her appearance, and she has changed her appearance here to look like her. Obviously, Valia has asked her to look like her brother Griffin, probably just so she can be happy for a moment, pretending that her brother's actually alive. Obviously, she's still very, very affected by the fact that her brother died many years ago, and it's driven her all this time. And so we see, and I love Frank Herbert's term for, I like, it's a very elegant term, face dancer, someone who can change their appearance. So we haven't really been introduced to this, but there's a race called the Thylaxu that have done a lot of human experimentation. They are able to develop face dancers. The Thalaxu are not looked upon very highly from all the other races because of this human experimentations, but they have been able to accomplish this, which is someone who can change their appearance. It's not like seamless or easy or anything. That they do have to like change, kind of make their bones kind of change structure and things like this. There's a process to it that's maybe painful, but and it does take a little bit of effort to it. But you can see how this could be useful, and who knows who Valia is going to order her to be like, change her appearance to in the future episodes to trick somebody. But that is a big reveal. The other thing that the Thalaxu were able to accomplish was creation of Golas, which we haven't been introduced to this yet in this show, but maybe in the next couple episodes we will, or maybe not. So a Gola is someone where they take someone's DNA and able to basically make a clone out, grow them in these axolotl tanks, and basically make a clone out of them with the same memories and mannerisms, things like that. Basic replica clones. They call them again. Frank Herbert came up with another name for it. They call them Golas. I don't know if you're gonna see that in this series or not. You may, since they seem to be introducing a lot of different concepts from the Dune lore. They may throw that in there as well. It does come in. The concept of the Gola does come in big in the next Denis Villeneuve movie based on Frank Herbert's second book, Dune Messiah. I'm not going to say anything more than that because it'll create major spoilers, but you will definitely learn about Golas in that movie, but not sure. My guess is they'll probably still try to introduce that into this series in the next 2 episodes. Maybe, who knows, maybe Desmond Hart. I mean, it's a possibility that Desmond Hart is a Gola because we know from before where he got swallowed up by a worm. I don't know how you can survive that, but if they made a Gola of him, then he would have that memory. So, I mean, that's a possibility. Another possibility is he could be, I don't know why they wouldn't recognize him, but maybe he might be Vorian. They mentioned Vorian Atreides in the flashback episode, who's the Atreides that way back during the war against the thinking machines was the one who accused the Harkonnens of being cowards and basically gave them the bad rap, and which may be true. I'm not saying it's not true. Valia doesn't believe it, but which made them like such a lowly, being considered so low on the totem pole. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get to know at some point in the next 2 episodes. I mean, this episode does, there's a couple of really good things that I've already talked about, how they brought in a couple of things about the Dune Lord, which appeal to people like me who really like Dune. I don't know if they're going to if it appeals to other people who are just maybe watching this show just to see how it is. I don't know. But again, this episode, like episodes 2 and 3, does suffer a lot of the same things in that it doesn't really move the story forward a lot. Like I said, we're basically 2/3 of the way in this series, and there hasn't been a lot of like forward with this story. I really don't know what this kind of like this story is about, other than the fact that the Bene Gesserit love to manipulate everybody, and that Desmond Hart is a mysterious person who hates them for some reason, probably because they use thinking machines. So maybe they're going to cram in a lot of action in the next 2 episodes. I hope they do give you a lot of resolutions in the next 2 episodes. I hope it's not one of these things where they kind of leave a lot of things up in the air, hoping to get another season out of it, because you may never do that. And then it's like leaving people up in the air about that with a lot of major things is not good. I do want to see some kind of resolution, some kind of, more things happening in this story, and let's hope that happens in the next 2 episodes. I would probably give this episode like a 6. Like I said, there's like a 6 out of 10. There's a lot of things I like, but there's some things. The one thing, if I was coming into this as not a Dune fan, would I like it? What I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't think this story hasn't really gone anywhere in like 4 episodes. I mean, you saw the end, the kind of the resolution for the rebel plot, which was a nothing burger because it got foiled before it even got started. But that kind of started back in episode 2, and you finally kind of only see that resolution now. So I'm really hoping things get revved up in episodes 5 and 6. They got to do that in order to really put a great ending to this show. I'll keep. It's only 2 more episodes. I'll keep watching, but I really hope that they get a lot of stuff going. I did watch the sneak peek, like a 30-second sneak peek that you see at the end of this episode, and it does look like there's a lot of action scenes in it. So we'll see. I really hope they do. So that's it for me. Again, a very uneven episode. Some good things, some not so good things, and here's hoping that the next 2 episodes are going to be really good. Well, that's it for me. Please let me know what you think of the show so far, and how you're interested in Dune if you have any, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for watching GeekTime TV. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, make sure to check the little bell icon anytime someone from our network drops new content here. Want some GeekTime swag? Check out the merchandise available in the GeekTime TV store, linked in the channel description below. Share GeekTime TV with friends, and as always, thank you for your support. We'll see you soon.